And shalom, everyone. Shalom. I want to welcome everyone to King James Bible University and Precept Mastery. And I'm Elder Michael Johnson, the pastor here. And we're on this third day of the week where we're on unleavened bread. And we had one that was actually set up with this is Jesus is God or not. We had Ronald Harris. We had this guy, he calls his name Ezekiel Israel from all these two guys is from Bowie. In Bowie them, they teach us that Jesus is God. And this is not my first time hearing from this Ronald Harris guy, where he was cowardly like a hyena. So he didn't want to deal with me by himself, so he went and called himself getting some ammunition of this guy, Ezekiel Israel. He won't give me his real name. So what I was doing, I was going to have him come on because they kept bothering one of my sisters as we was traveling home on yesterday from the Passover. They was blowing their phone up. So what ended up happening, we end up setting that up. So as I'm even entering the plane, they sitting there, they want to do it right now. And she's telling them, he's getting on the plane, heading home. And as they continued, as I let them know, I'm going to do one thing. But then once I got on that flight and I got home, I called her. I said, is it too late to call? I just texted her. Too late. She said, no, you can call me. I called her. And they wanted to set it up. Then the same thing we did. We're going to set up. I want to make sure that you guys going to be live on, YouTube, number one. Number two, you're not going to be able to be unseen because I'm going to make sure all of us can be seen. Number three, you guys, I'm going to give you the time to where you can say about your Jesus is God. So I asked Ronald Harris, how much time you need? He said he don't need no time. I don't know what that means. I said, how much time you need? So I even explained it to him. I said, well, how this works is you tell me how much time you need to explain that Jesus is God in the Bible. He said, I don't need no time. God's in me. I said, boy, this is interesting. This is highly interesting. So the Ezekiel Israel guy, whoever he want to call this, because you got a lot of guys, they won't tell you who their names are, and they don't want to show live because once people know who they are, now they can't hide. That's why I want to make sure people know who they are. Same thing is, my name is Elder Michael Johnson. Michael, you can look that up. That is my name. It ain't no made up name. It ain't no false name. I got my license. When I sign in on anything, that's what I got to sign my name on the dotted line. That is my name, period. But when you have deceivers come up with these made up names, and he's saying, well, this is what people call me, that's letting you know he a deceiver right up front. But he called himself Ezekiel Israel. He's an Ezekiel Israel fool. Same as Ronald Harris. Because no matter what they do, they run around, and I'm letting Harris know, this Ronald Harris, this is the second time he didn't stood us up on this. So the same thing is, don't call my sister telling you, oh, you got somebody else, because you're nothing more than a hyena just running around. And this is where we find out where you separate the baby boys from men. And what he is, he's a little child. But when you sit there and you make someone, you want to deal with someone, such as myself, you make sure you prepared to come forward and not run around and trying to gather up people. Because just like I said the first time, you should have got Bowie. Because Bowie know whose I am. He know exactly who I am. But just like I said, you can get all your men from there. That's the only way I deal with you now. You get at least 15 to 20 guys from there to come up and they sit before me and challenge me. And I won't even put no elders or no deacons up there. And I deal with all you guys at one time. But that's just to show you the same thing. We dealing with fools. But when you have this, where we come against everything, this is what we continually to go through. dealing with people such as you, dealing with people such as, and they all Christians, dealing with people like this. When we dealing with people like this, IOG, this, they call themselves Israel God. And then you got this Ronald Harris. You got this, whoever his real name is, he called himself Ezekiel Israel. You got two fools. And anybody following him is just as much as a fool as he is. This is what people need to understand. They'll sit there and say everything they need to say, but when it's time to go live, if anybody sit there and say that they know they got the truth, they will challenge, hey, just name the day and the hour and we'll be there. You see, they won't do it. They want to hire Ezekiel Israel, and she'll tell you, because I'm gonna go and Zoom after this. She would tell you out of her own mouth. He said, "No, I want to talk to you over the phone for a while before we go live." No. I don't know. We gonna go live. I don't talk to people like you. We go live because I don't want you to deny nothing later. But every time we sit there and we get people like this, especially, I thought Bowie was at least training little boys to be some kind of boy, but he still got a bunch of little babies, little children. That's why you see right here, is Jesus is or is not God. But what I'm going to do, this 31 Kings. See, I had to set this up. That's why this came up kind of late. But I'm getting ready to do something for unleavened bread, and it's going to continue. As we're going to tear some of this doctrine down, but what I'm going to do, it's going to start next week. I'm going to march through every camp, every ABC camp, IOG. I'm going to go through all you guys' doctrine. Those 31 kings, I'm going to kill every one of you guys' doctrine. I'm going to go one by one, and I'm going to go into each one of you guys' doctrine, and I'm going to show everybody how unintelligent your doctrine is. This is what I'm going to do, because this makes no sense for people to sit there. And if people want to sit there under this doctrine, that lets you know they just as fool as anybody else. Because I'm going to show you exactly how they tear down stuff. I'm going to show you exactly how they tear down doctrine. And I'm going to show you how much they lie. I'm going to prove it up. And they can take my videos, but I guarantee you they can't break it down. But I'm going to go through everybody's doctrine. The only one gonna hurt me is going through Sakari, because they dumb as a rock. But I'm gonna take the time and I'm gonna go through their even little dumb doctrine. But I'm gonna go through every camp doctrine. I'm gonna go through these 31 kings that they call themselves. They got the truth, and they don't. So I want to make sure we understand what's going on. And this start of understanding this unleavened bread, where we're going to get some truth. Some truth. So today we're going to dive into this profound area. We're going to look at something. I want to take you somewhere. And I don't even have my Bible set up, but they are set up, but I don't have them where I need them to go right now. So I'm going to be putting them up there as we go. And I want to make sure we understand a few things. As we go through this, we want to understand, one, who Jehovah is, because we're going to march through this in a systematic way to make sure that each and every person understand clearly what we're talking about. So as we dive into this, we got to understand, one, Jesus Christ, whoever they want to call him. When we finish with this by the next 2 weeks, I promise you can give this to every friend, any cousin, any husband, any wife, and clearly show through precepts on things I don't show, but you're going to find out now that Jesus was never ever God. And people who still want to hold on to it, it lets you know they are not part of God, and they're just weeds in the way that's waiting to be picked up to be burned in the fire. And showing you, by examining first the first five books, we're going to find out other scriptural citations which uncover truth of Jehovah, divine nature, that's his direct role as God. Showing you who the Father is, to contrast with Yahweh or Jesus, whose name signifies salvation. So I'm going to show you something. We're going to look at it in a very systematic way. When you look at Jehovah, the Word of God, the Spirit of God, Christ, all those encapsulates in one, which is still manifests himself throughout the scriptures. You see that. Let's look at that. It says, the Almighty Word leaped down from heaven out of thy royal throne as a fierce man of war into the midst of a land of destruction. Now, we getting this, then understanding more so with that. But let's pull something with this to make sure we tie this all together. So when you're going through here, to make sure that same thing with those same people, we're going to understand how this we're going to start seeing how this works, how it works out. We look at Exodus chapter 6, looking at verse 3, it tells us. It says, right here, it says, I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, by the name, meaning by the way of God Almighty. But by my name, by my way, Jehovah. By my way, Jehovah. I was not known to them. I want you to make sure you keep these roles here, because we're going to start finding out some serious things as we're going to march through. So we got to take our time to really get a clear understanding on what's happening. Making sure when you see this, you see Jehovah appeared to the patriarchs in a spiritual form, signifying his omnipotence and his divine authority. He appeared to him this way. But we're going to see he declares something as he do this. Let's look at that. And we're going to put these all together. So we're going to look at Exodus chapter 6 and verse 7. It says, I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a God. He's claiming who he is. He's claiming right here who he actually is. I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a God. This is clear in Scripture. And ye should know that I am the Lord, capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D. He's telling you, then you will know that I am the Spirit of your God, that bringeth you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. This is clear. This is pretty clear here. But Jehovah, you see, he declared his purpose to make us his people, and he's sitting there saying, and he's going to be our God. This declaration emphasizes the covenant, the relationship established between Jehovah himself, marking this unique position in his sovereign deity. Everybody see this. I want to make sure everybody see exactly what I'm talking about. This is why it's so important when people sit there and they say, well, the Old Testament done away with, we're going to deal with all that. Don't worry about that. We're going to deal with every bit of it. Every bit of this we're going to deal with. Because now we got to understand something. We know that Jehovah is a certain way. He's a certain way. And when we're dealing with God, the Father's transcendent purity, when we're dealing with God, the Father, transcendent purity, we have to understand his holiness. His holiness. We got to understand that. I'm going to put that up on the board in 1 second. I'm going to make sure you see it in the scriptures. And as we see this in the scriptures, you hold to what you see in scriptures. You can hold me as a liar all day long. You can't hold the scriptures as a liar. You can't hold these as a liar. So let's look at something. Let's go to Habakkuk. We're going to go to Habakkuk and find something. Habakkuk chapter 1, verse 13. These are the scriptures you run people through, because we're going to go through it biblically all the way through. Look at what it's going to say here. Now, we're dealing with the Father right now, so we see what's happening. It says, thou art in his perfection, in his beauty, in pure eyes, of his pure understanding, than to behold evil. He's telling you something. He's making sure we understand something. We're going to be coming back later on the following weeks. We're going to find out exactly and dig deep into this to get a clear understanding on this. As he said, to where it can behold evil and can't just look upon iniquity. He can't look upon iniquity. This is the Father. This is the Father. So the Father described as a spirit and an entity that transcends physical sight and can only be comprehended through the wonders of creation, even as Paul explains Romans, which we're going to find out in a second. We're going to find out that in a second. So as we understand a lot of it, actually I want to keep that one there. I want to put this one here. And we're going to pull this up to get a better understanding. We're going to go to John 4:24. And it's telling us the same again. God is a spirit. They that worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. So again, Paul explains this clearly. This is explained clearly as we look at this. When you see all these citations and we see these legal analysis that was done on this, we'll see how this actually works out. God is a spirit, so we have to worship him that way. But you'll see this over in Romans chapter 1, verse 20, where it tells us, where it gets more and better on what's happening. Because it tells us, for the invisible things of him, from the creation of the world clearly seen. But God is the spirit. You can't see a spirit. From the invisible things of him, which is spirit, from the creation of the world are clearly seen. Then how? How is this seen? Being understood, how? How are these things being clearly understood? By the things that are made. That's what he's doing. Even his eternal power, his Godhead, so that they are without excuse. This is how we understand how God is who he is. This is showing you and it's illustrating that the Father's essence is spiritual, understood through the world and the creation of the natural laws that he ordained. This is how he works. This is how he works this. So now we can understand a lot more about what's happening. We can understand a lot more about what's going on. Because when we look at this, we got to understand the role of Jehovah. Jehovah and Christ and the New Testament, all this stuff works together because his present power often is referred to the Spirit of God simply as Lord. This is a continuation of the work of the Old Testament embodying his power and guidance. That's why it says, as we went through, let me pull that back up. That's why it says certain things. Wisdom of Solomon. We look at Wisdom of Solomon chapter 18. We'll look at verse 15. That's why it says the Almighty Word leaped down from heaven out of the royal zone as the fierce man of war into the midst of a land of destruction. That's why this happened. So when you look at this, we get a better understanding. This passage actually signifies the intervention of Jehovah's Word. He is the Word, demonstrating his active participation in guiding and protecting his people. So when you see this in the New Testament, that's happened. This Word, it leaped down from heaven. It leaped down from heaven, and it's describing that he's the anointed one. So Jehovah's purpose in his plan was salvation to teach his people and to where they can make sacrifices. Where they can make sacrifices. Let's look at something. So as we do this, we see a few things here. Because all we're doing, we're picking up some things, but we're going to start going deeper into this. In 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 21, it tells us a lot more on this. For even hereunto we are called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example that we should follow. How? From the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead. And he did this, leaving us an example that we should follow. Why? They are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made. So everything that God created, he's using that with being understood on that. This is why so many people mix this up. Because when we want to understand God's eternal power, his Godhead, they can be clearly seen by the things that are made. Not just sitting there where they sitting there, oh, God made this or God made that, and we can see this. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is, when you see trees, when you see birds, when you see bushes, when you see ants, when you see bugs, when you see animals, when you see birds, when you see fish, when you see all these things, it can be understood and clearly seen by the things that God made, to where you can understand his eternal power in Godhead. And as he do that, he leaving us an example that we should follow in his steps, because things that is out of order, are different. So the same as we look at, how many people, just thinking about it, you don't have to put it in the chat, but how many people, when you have issues and you have your yard work done, how many people will leave weeds in their yard? Let's say you have a nice lawn. How many people will take up weeds in their yard? And you're not going to keep them, you're going to throw them away. People in the country, they get so many, they burn them up. This is what I want you to think about. This is why you can understand who he is. This is why we can understand more so who Jehovah is, being understood by the things that are made, even its eternal power. So we see things that is 100% different with Christ. 100% difference with Christ. And we're going to be looking at that in a lot of different ways by the things that are made. Even its eternal power in Godhead. Because when people sitting there to understand what this is all about, you keep these things in your pockets, because we're going to get ready to go and Zoom in 1 second. We're going to sit there, we're going to understand something. And I want you to see this one here. 1 second. I've got two things. I got the wrong one. Let me see. I got to move this over, because I got to do the Zoom one. I was trying to do something. And so what I want to do is, because we was picking them up for that one thing. We was picking them up for one thing. But since he did not start, we're going to do it this way. Because we do have a question that's coming up. And a lot of people we miss, because we did the Passover this past week. And right now we're in unleavened bread. And for 7 days we must learn of unleavened bread. That's the thing that goes on here. So the same as tomorrow, unleavened bread, the same day, the next day, as we do all 7 days, that we would do unleavened bread. And I know a lot of people, they return where we was part of that. And based on that, we probably have quite a few people that was in here that was participants in unleavened bread. So one of the big things is that was a pivotal moment based on what was going on. And just on that, I don't know how many people that's in here currently that was part of that unleavened bread, that were part of the Passover. But if you was part of it, I just want you to say aye, because I know we have some people still in traveling mode where they've been traveling. But if you was part of this, the Passover, just put aye in there, because we're going to go in the back in a minute. We have different things to where if you was part of it. We have quite a few people that was in there. And a lot of people we just met for the first time, which was really, really, really good that we met them for the first time. A lot of people from different countries, and we met them. It was very nice for us to meet them. And I'm talking about some of the nicest people you ever want to meet, and who we met from out of the country. Now, if you look at the link in the bottom, you'll see where we have the Zoom link there. And I'm trying to get it to where I can get it to Sister. One second. Oh, okay. Got you. Got you. Got you. Okay. Got it. So let me so what I'm gonna do also with that, uh 'cause I just got a note from one of my head moderators on something that I'm doing. So what I do want to do, that block is there. So let me see. So what I am gonna do, I'm gonna take care of something. And we're gonna put that out there. I didn't know that was on there. I didn't know it was up. But if Sister Venus can post that link, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go in the back. We're gonna record it because we're gonna take some parts, so we're gonna be putting it over on the front. So she just put that in there. We have the link that'll be in there in the Zoom area where you can come into Zoom and then we can go through it. But I do have one person who do have a question. They do. I appreciate it, Sister Venus. We do have one person who do have a question that they want to answer. So I will be answering that question in the back because I spoke to him earlier, and I will be answering that one in the back. That will be answered in the back. So if you want to be part of Zoom, you see the link there, and you're more than welcome to come in the back and watch it and see and break it down a different way. Then also, what we're going to be doing these coming weeks, you're going to see we're going to go through the 31 Kings. These 31 Kings is a certain way on how we're going to be tearing down doctrine based on a lot of these camps, based on a lot of these teachers that teach falsely. So you won't see me technically calling them out. We're going to be going after the doctrine, and the doctrine that is pushed out to people. So you'll see what's really happening, and as many people, you see it, you understand it, but I promise you, it's not looking to really pull people out, but it's to show people who come into truth how to actually acknowledge what is false. You need to understand what is false and understand what is truth. So what I'm going to do now, we have that there, and I couldn't get that turned off yet. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try that again. Let me try that one again one more time. I'm going to see would that work. I'm going to see would that work. Give me 1 minute. 1 minute. I'm going to sit there and see. Hopefully I can get that off. And let me see. Oh yeah, it surely is. It is surely on. And so right now, and it was on. I didn't know it was on. I don't know why they had that on there. So what I'm asking right now, that's turned off. So everybody who attended the Passover, please sit there and just put I. If you was able to attend the Passover. If you was able to attend the Passover, just put I. Just put I. Everyone who has attended the Passover. So I know some people are still in travel mode. We have a couple that I know some people are still traveling. But we do want to welcome all who came through, all that was there, and all that learned what was meant for them. And what I'm getting ready to do, as they putting in that, I want you guys to remember as we move forward. Many things was taught there. Many things will move forward on there. One of the biggest things is people found out with their Passover, it's not what people teach. What they taught is how you take a lamb. You take a lamb, and they split this lamb up. And then they find out that ain't actually how it works. Because no bones can be broken on the lamb. So how can you have a proper Passover and you breaking a lamb up in pieces? Which it cannot be done. So this is what we deal with as we look at Scripture. So as people putting in, and we have many people who was there, as we see right there. As I said, we're gonna go into get ready to go into Zoom, and we're gonna answer the one question. But one of the main reasons was, we had some people who constantly was going through, and they've been wanting a challenge for a while, and they from Bowie, and Bowie and them run this IOG. With IOG, they sit there, and they believe that they have the truth. They believe they have this truth, and they don't. However, as they continually go through what they do, we'll remember each and every one as what they say and what they do. So as we sit there, I'm trying to switch something real quick. Let me see. We got this. We have that. No, this is the one we need. That's the one I need. We got that. So we have that one there. So the same thing is we look at that there. And I just want to make sure that we have this set up. Making sure that all that is set up. I got that pretty much set up. So what we want to do, make sure that each and every person, that as we go in the back in Zoom, make sure that we go in the back, make sure we're going to go through that one piece. But as we go through that one piece, we are going to have some people to where they experience the Passover. And the Passover, many people never experienced it. Some people experienced other types of Passover, which it still wasn't Passover. Because why they doing Passover? Most people don't even know what Passover is, because they just go and they just think they do a bunch of eating, and that's not Passover. But that's what people believe it is, and that's not what it is. And that also goes to show you how much these people who teach you saying that this is Passover, and that's not Passover. That's part of the problem. So the same is we have quite a few people that did it, and they do the same thing with baptism. They baptize people a certain way, and they truly believe that that way that they baptize the people is what it is, and that's not the truth. So it's all about that. But what I want to do, we're gonna get ready to end it here. We're gonna end right here, because I got to go into Zoom and answer a question for one person. But if other people have other questions based on that, we'll be more than happy to take it. That's one. And then two, we have some people who want to speak on their time at the Passover and people they met and the joyous time that they have. We're going to give people a couple of minutes, not for you to speak 15 minutes. You might have 2 or 3 minutes. And if you go over that, I'm going to end up asking you to hold up and let other people, give them a chance to speak. So with that, we're going to end here as we move forward. So tomorrow we're going to have the other ones come up, then we're going to keep moving forward. So right now we're going to end here, and make sure you're paying attention to the prayers that's going out, because the prayers are actually helping us to where we can move forward on unleavened bread the correct way. So with that, I say to each and everybody, and everyone who's coming in the back, I say to you, until next time, shalom.